You've probably been told you need to eat more protein. Maybe your doctor said it. Maybe it was your trainer, your favorite podcast, or someone on Instagram holding a smoothie in a shaker bottle. The message is loud and clear. Eat more protein, 100 grams a day or more, or your metabolism will crash, you'll lose muscle, and your health will suffer. But what if that message is wrong? What if it's not just oversimplified, but actually misleading and in some cases harmful? So I'm Dr. Jenn. I'm a board certified lifestyle medicine specialist, and I have helped hundreds of people improve their health through sustainable, evidence-based nutrition and lifestyle change. And today I wanted to walk you through why our obsession with protein is distracting us from what actually matters when it comes to reversing chronic disease, aging well, and feeling good. So in this video, I'm going to break down where this high protein narrative came from and who benefits, explain the real risks of eating this way, show you why macros are not the answer for long-term health, and I'm going to give you a far more effective, joyful, and evidence-based approach to eating that naturally supports muscle, metabolism, and energy. Stick with me to the end. I promise this will change the way you think about food, and it may just change the way you eat for the rest of your life. So, how did protein become the centerpiece of so many discussions? So it actually didn't start this way. For decades, nutrition guidance was much more balanced. It emphasized balance, it emphasized limiting saturated fat maybe, increasing fruits and vegetables, and eating a variety of whole foods. Protein had a role, but it wasn't the star. That started to shift with the rise of this low-carb, high-protein diets in the early 2000s, as weight loss and metabolic health and fitness performance became the center of everything. It seemed that protein took over as the solution, right? Protein was all of a sudden reframed as a kind of nutritional insurance, something that could preserve muscle, control appetite, stabilize blood sugar, and do everything else, right? Over time, the message got louder. It made its way from wellness blogs to food packaging to actual clinical practice. So today, even physicians are recommending high-protein diets as a first-line strategy for weight loss, for blood sugar management, for all kinds of things. But this approach is often reductionist. It isolates one macronutrient as the solution while ignoring the larger picture of what actually supports health and longevity. Whole food dietary patterns, fiber, microbiome support, anti-inflammatory compounds, consistency and sustainability, and yes, joy and satisfaction in how we eat. And while some protein-focused studies show short-term benefits for weight or muscle retention, it is really important to acknowledge that many of these studies are funded by food industry stakeholders. Big agriculture and the supplement industry have a lot to gain from this way of thinking. This doesn't invalidate the data, but it does raise questions about whose interests are being served. In contrast, when we look at the longest living people in the world, these populations around the world that we call the blue zones, protein is not the focus. Their diets are simple, they are plant forward, they are rich in legumes, grains, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Their meals are centered around food culture, flavor, community. They're not counting grams, macros, or powders. So the question isn't, are you getting enough protein? A better question is the way that you're eating supporting your long-term health, your energy, and of course, joy? And if you're watching this and you're thinking, but isn't protein important for muscle, metabolism, and aging? Well, yes, it actually has a role. It does have a role. But what we're being told is neither realistic nor supported by the long-term data. Let's be honest, when people say you need 100 grams of protein a day, what are we even talking about? Number one, it's not one number for every person, right? We all have different body sizes and types and different needs. But the other thing is, are we talking about food or are we talking about numbers? So don't get me wrong, as an ICU physician, I tracked macros down to the gram. It was appropriate in that situation. We had patients that were critically ill. They were dependent on nutrition for recovery and for healing. Nutrient precision was absolutely part of the life support that we provided. But in everyday life, outside of elite athletics or specific medical conditions, tracking macros with that level of precision is neither practical nor necessary. And in many cases, it's probably harmful. We should be talking about food, real food, whole unprocessed food. Truth bomb here. If you are eating whole unprocessed foods, they don't come with a label. Meals that taste good, feel good, and nourish your body without needing a calculator. In the longest living populations on Earth, those areas called the blue zones again, like I mentioned earlier, no one is chasing protein. They are eating whole, simple meals that are filled with beans and grains and greens and vegetables. They consume small portions of nuts, maybe some fish. They're eating some fermented foods. Their meals are centered on flavor and tradition. They're not stressing out or tracking their food in apps. Their protein intake is actually modest, and it's largely plant-based. And these people are strong well into their 8th and 9th decades of life, which is maintained through movement, connection, and living in environments that support health. It is not from scooping protein powder into water bottles. So when we push high protein diets, especially those that are heavy in animal products, we are actually not just wasting our effort. We actually may be trading short-term results for long-term consequences. So for example, excess red and processed meat is associated with increased cardiovascular risk. Animal protein, especially when it's pushing out fiber-rich, carbohydrate-rich foods, worsens insulin resistance. High protein diets have also been shown to worsen kidney disease in certain populations. Diets that are low in plant diversity, that are low in fiber, and that are low in or nutrient deficient in phytonutrients lead to cognitive decline. Studies even show that our increased consumption of animal protein may be associated with certain types of cancers. So what we really should be emphasizing is foods that protect our blood vessels, nurture our gut health, and reduce inflammation, and support sustainable energy. And the thing that I really wish people understood is that protein does not build muscle. Muscle is built by resistance. You can consume 120 grams of protein a day, but if you're sedentary, if you're not using your muscles, they are not going to get bigger and they're not going to be sustained. What you really need is consistent resistance training, which doesn't mean you need to go to the gym every day. You just need to move against resistance, walk up a hill, maybe lift weights if that's what you like. Consuming adequate calories is also really important, and recovery. And yes, while you do need enough protein, you don't need 100 grams. For active adults, the amount is anywhere from 0.8 to 1 to 1.2 as you get older grams per kilogram, which is normally for active women 50 to 70 grams. And this is easily met on a well-balanced plant-heavy diet. So what should we be focusing on instead? So instead of focusing over grams of protein, ask these 3 questions. Am I eating enough fruits and vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes every day? Am I getting a variety of different plant foods, ideally 30 every week? Am I getting enough fiber? This is the nutrient that 95% of Americans are deficient in. Am I eating food that I enjoy? It doesn't feel like punishment or pressure. These are the questions that lead to health, joy, and sustainable change. So food isn't just fuel, it is information. It actually tells your body whether to have the ability to transform our health at the cellular level. So here's the truth I want you to take away from today. When you prioritize whole, vibrant, plant-heavy meals, when you build your plate around fiber, flavor, and variety, you will get enough protein. And more than that, you will get what protein alone cannot give you. reduced inflammation, better blood sugar control, improved digestion, and long-term protection from chronic diseases that truly threaten our health. The problem isn't protein. It's that what we've been taught to fixate on as a number one nutrient instead of focusing on the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is made up of thousands of compounds working together in food. Nutrients, fiber, phytochemicals, all of these things support your cells, your metabolism, and your mood. So that's not something you get from protein powder. That's something that you get from food and the right strategy. So if you are ready to stop micromanaging your macros and start building a lifestyle that's actually designed to help you thrive, I would love to support you. In my practice, I do lifestyle medicine consults for patients that are in New York and Vermont to support you in making healthy weight or chronic disease. I also do private coaching, which is more generalized wellness coaching. And I run a growing wellness community where we focus on science, joy, and food that actually works. Head over to healthylivingwithdrjen.com to book your consult or book a free discovery call, explore coaching options, and learn how we can work together. Or you can start with my free guide. Click the link below to grab my guide on metabolism, why your metabolism slows after 40, and how to reignite it naturally. So your body doesn't need more protein. It doesn't need more numbers. It needs nourishment, it needs clarity, and it needs a plan rooted in real food and real science. That's what I teach, that's what I live, and that's what I'd love to help you with.